This is your host Swapnil Bhartiya and welcome to another episode of TR4 Let's Talk. And today we have with us once again Gaurav Rishi, VP of Product at Kasten by Veeam. Kasten by Veeam has announced support for AWS Marketplace for containers anywhere. It's a new channel for hybrid Kubernetes deployments, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Gaurav, if I ask you, what is the idea behind this new service, containers anywhere?
Yeah, hi, Swapna. First of all, thanks again for having me on the show. Always good to chat with you. Yes, indeed. I know it's a mouthful, but we are super excited to be a launch partner for AWS Marketplace for containers anywhere. And really, the idea behind this is we are seeing a big trend towards Kubernetes applications growing, but not growing just in the cloud, but also on premises. And hence, this links to the hybrid deployments, where you have applications seamlessly moving between these application deployment areas. And that has resulted in customers having a pain point of saying, well, I can go ahead and get my applications deployed and use Kasten K10 to protect them, but how can I seamlessly procure them and have transactions where Kasten K10 can now work and be licensed both for the public cloud, AWS, as well as on premises, which is now, for example, things like AWS EKS anywhere. So that's really what resulted in us talking about Marketplace for containers anywhere, so that we have the seamless procurement and transactions via AWS Marketplace.
How are you folks planning to support Container Anywhere?
Containers Anywhere is obviously an interesting one, which is essentially, if you look at Kasten, we've always had three use cases that we've talked about, including on your show. One has been backup, disaster recovery as the second one, and then application mobility as the third one. So a lot of people look at Kubernetes also to give the promise of portability. And from our perspective, right from the start of the company's formation, we've always talked about having the concept of being able to take a backup and to be able to then rehydrate it in a completely different environment, right? Which could be a hybrid location. It could have a completely different storage class when we go ahead and talk about the underlying infrastructure, or it could be a different Kubernetes distribution when we go ahead and rehydrate it. So all of our backups are in this agnostic format, which doesn't tie you to a particular Kubernetes distribution or infrastructure. So that's how Kasten K10 has always been designed to go ahead and make sure that containers, regardless of where they are, can be supported anywhere. That's really the secret sauce behind it.
Excellent. Now let's talk about the actual stakeholders or actual people who are going to benefit from it, which are like AWS users. So talk about what is the value that you folks are bringing to them, through, of course, Containers Anywhere, and also, you folks also offer, as you also mentioned, a lot of disaster recovery, backup, and other data management capabilities. So let's talk about how all of this is going to actually help the end user here.
Yeah. So let me talk about the end users, because our customers who exceedingly are your cloud ops, DevOps personas who are looking to go ahead and make sure that all of the applications based on Kubernetes that they have deployed in these hybrid locations are indeed protected, right? And that means making sure that they are backed up regularly, they have disaster recovery in place for regulatory reasons, compliance reasons. And the key benefits that I see of Kasten K10 now going ahead and increasing its presence on the AWS Marketplace. We always had AWS Marketplace listings, which were for a fully featured free edition. We also were actually launch partners a while back with AWS on metered editions, so people could go and purchase Kasten K10 on a dollar per node per hour basis. But now, with this AWS Market for Containers Anywhere, there are, I would argue, 4 key benefits that I'll quickly list out, and we can dive into it if you want to. First is you have the deploy anywhere. You can go ahead and have customers be able to take Kasten K10 and be able to deploy it across public cloud and on premises or in a hybrid scenario across multiple Kubernetes distributions, not just EKS anywhere, but upstream Kubernetes, for example, if you're on premises. The second one I'll mention is license portability. This allows you to sort of go ahead and make sure once you've acquired Kasten K10, you can flexibly consume it. And as your workloads move between on-premises and public cloud, you can go ahead and easily migrate them. The third one is enhanced security. Now, when you go ahead and put Kasten K10 into the AWS Marketplace, it's automatically scanned for vulnerabilities by AWS. That helps make sure that you have a clean image. But also for things like on-premise distributions like EKS Anywhere, it supports Bottle Rocket by default. And actually, Kasten was again a launch partner for Bottle Rocket, which is an open source, secure, optimized for containers operating system, right? And that helps reduce the surface attack surface. And then fourth, which I think is very key for customers, is the transaction benefits. So you can now have consolidated billing for your Kasten K10 along with other infrastructure components from AWS, which shows all of the underlying capabilities that you might have deployed. And then also AWS Marketplace for Containers Anywhere supports private offers. So Kasten has, as a part of Veeam, a very strong presence with channels. And so to be able to go ahead and make sure that we work with the existing distributors through private offers, or CPPO as it's called, is extremely important too, and gives the benefit to the customers to be able to work through various options.
So while this announcement is all about AWS, but there are other cloud vendors also. So are you planning to offer integration? Because in the end, it also, with the Kasten by Veeam, you folks help customers wherever they are in their journey with whatever choices they have made.
Yeah, no, I think Swapnil, that's an important question. I think we've always said, one of the founding philosophies for Kasten has been to have the freedom of choice. And I was alluding to freedom of choice in context of making sure you can choose any storage vendor or any Kubernetes distribution. But that is also true in terms of making sure our customers have a choice of figuring out what procurement channel they need, right? So Veeam already has tens of thousands of channels that Kasten can be procured from. And then when it comes to marketplaces, we are seeing actually public cloud marketplaces, as well as actually what you would have thought enterprise-centric private marketplaces also show up. So you can definitely expect to see Kasten available in that, and we don't want to make sure we want to make sure that our customers do have the diversity of choice moving forward. And we already are available, for example, on the Google Cloud Marketplace. Today, we are already listed, for example, on the Azure Marketplace, as well as the Red Hat OpenShift Marketplace. So we do have that choice, and we continue to increase that.
Can you also talk about, it may be too early, but the work that you folks do with AWS? What are the things in the pipeline? Of course, once again, you cannot talk about pipeline, but basically what I'm trying to understand is your engagement with AWS. What does the future look like?
Yeah, sure. No, I think it's a good question. So, Kasten, since its formation, even as a startup, had AWS as a key partner, and we ended up starting off with a technology-centric integration, right? So given that we are a backup product and we started off as being cloud native ourselves, we actually integrated across a few layers. And so first one was we made sure that as people wrote applications that were exceedingly using block storage like EBS on the Amazon infrastructure, we could go ahead and have direct integrations with EBS so that you could do snapshotting. We also integrated with EFS, which is a file store. And then we also integrated with Amazon S3 so that you can go ahead and have a resilient store so that snapshots can go in there. We also then integrated with Amazon EKS so that it became a seamless way to go ahead and make sure Kasten was not only easily installed, you could go ahead and have IAM role mapping, so we're not asking customers for credentials. And that allowed us to go ahead and make sure you could go ahead and back up across regions or accounts or clusters. And then we also integrated with Amazon databases, right? So we see people going ahead and using exceedingly managed data services. But as an example, it could be Amazon RDS. So Kasten has this concept of extensible blueprints. We've already authored that for Amazon RDS and the underlying engines there. That continues to grow. And then we also have gone ahead and integrated and created these blueprints for databases which people decide to install in their own AWS clusters, right? It could be Postgres, or it could be Cassandra, or recently we also announced K10, which is an operator-based database that can be easily installed and operated inside an AWS cluster. So in addition to all the AWS Marketplace points I had made, our integrations with AWS have been across the underlying infrastructure layer, which is a part of the shared services platform model, as well as the database, and the increasing number of Kubernetes distributions that can be run on AWS. So EKS, of course, EKS Anywhere, which we were launch partners for on premises, but also things like Red Hat OpenShift on AWS, ROSA as it's called, is something that we support today. And we will continue to go ahead and make sure that it becomes easier and more resilient for customers to go ahead and work across this entire application stack as we move forward.
Gaurav, thank you so much for taking time out today, and of course talk about this new service, new channel. And as usual, I would love to have you back on the show. Thank you.
No, thank you, Swapnil. Excited about this and look forward to coming back to your show and talking about the next big thing very soon.